Hey, Deserving listeners, 90 Day Fiancé bears all. Let's watch.
Heart to heart, it hasn't really changed. I'll tell you something that I don't think anybody really knows. Since they've moved out, I have not stepped foot in that apartment since.
Really?
I've never once been in that apartment. So people call me a doting, controlling mom. It's like, just to let you know.
Have they invited?
Okay, so they have Trish and Betty and Stephanie's mom and Ed all in the same room. And they're asking Betty, and Betty's like, look, people, and she's talking to the internet. People call me a doting mom, but I want to tell you, I have not set foot in their apartment. Okay, so, it's a data point that points in the direction of flexibility. It's not about being a doting mom. It's about flexibility. It's about the ability to react to situations, react to other people's needs. If Brandon gives a message like, I don't want you to be this enmeshed with me, do you react well to that? Are you flexible to that? And so that's a data point. Does it negate every observation that we've made about Betty's relationship and her attitude towards Brandon and Julia? No, but it is a data point, and it tells us that she pays attention to the internet, which is unfortunate for these people because there's a lot of really horrible things that people will say about these human beings, and I feel bad for them for that. It'd be one thing to be like, I wonder what's going on there, or, that doesn't seem like my style. It's another thing the level of bullying, really, that occurs to these cast members. I mean, people think, well, they're famous. It's like, no, they're human beings. One, two, yeah, I guess they're slightly famous. They're on a lot of people don't even watch this show, so they're not huge. It's not like, anyway, point is I wish they didn't experience that, and I wish people weren't like that, but they are, and so I feel bad for Betty for that, for sure.
Invited you? No, Betty. Brandon and Julia have not invited you to their apartment?
And how many months has it been?
A lot.
I can't imagine.
So we don't know the situation. One, they might go to the parents' house frequently and, see them. There might be a lot of hanging out time, and they just haven't bothered to invite them over. Two, Julia might be like, no, we're drawing a boundary. If we invite the mom over, it's just gonna, you give an inch, they'll take a mile. And so, no, well, that's where it'll be on we'll go there, and then we'll be able to leave when you, certainly, it seems possible and reasonable, maybe. It's also possible that they're just like, look, we don't have people over to our apartment. By the way, I saw someone sent me an email saying that Brandon's friend, the woman that they had on the show, her boyfriend or husband, who was also on the show, died recently. It's a detail and sad. It's a bummer to know that, we saw this, and to Brandon's old friend, that her boyfriend or husband died suddenly. And maybe that'll play a role if Brandon and Julia are going to be on the show again. Anyway, point is that they're saying that Betty has never been invited. And on the other hand, Brandon at times would be pretty vindictive, mean, cold towards his mom. And so I could see how he might be in that phase where he's establishing boundaries and he needs that space where he's like, screw you for a while before he can kind of come back around. Maybe that's what's happening.
I feel very bad, and I would feel hurt, and I would think there's something wrong.
Part of it, I think, is also they come back almost every weekend to the farm, but it's not to visit Ron and I.
Right, that's what I was suspecting. They come back almost every weekend. So why do they need to invite you to their apartment if they see you almost every weekend at the farm? So,
I mean, that's going to extremes. I got to tell you, that's going to extremes.
They were on a crash and burn course, period.
Look, you have your reasons for that, I'm sure, but I don't think that was appropriate.
Think all you want. All they did was fight and fight and fight.
It's interesting to think back on that moment that they're calling Trish out on, is that the day of the wedding, Trish called someone and said, go to the wedding and object. I mean, do we really think that would have worked? And it's not cool, but it's given what we have seen in their relationship and all the fighting, I understand the impulse, let's just put it that way. If you had a child that was about to get married and it was seemingly a bad match and there was going to be a lot of fighting, a lot of bad things, like, it makes sense that you'd be concerned. Trish, the way she went about it throughout the seasons was, a way to go about it is to talk with Mike and say, like, are you sure? I don't know. Trish didn't seem to have that approach.
Trying to protect Natalie. And she was telling me how evil and whatnot I was. And I said, you don't know anything about what you're talking about. I told her as best I could and put her in her place and told her, shut the fuck up. You don't know what you're talking about, because she couldn't even tell him that she loved him.
Magda?
So Trish is doubling down on the idea that Natalie was only in it for the green card. That seems highly unlikely. It's possible. None of us know Natalie's heart. But given all that we saw, there are other ways to get a green card. She could have just put up with Mike, if all she was in it for the green card. Plus, she's in it for the green card to live in Squim, in like rural Squim. Clearly, that wasn't what she was preferring. So if she was really in it for a green card, she would have, manipulated someone that lived in the city or something. I don't know. Anyway, I don't think she was in it just for the green card. I think she clearly was into Mike in the beginning. I mean, if you watch those early seasons, they were seemingly genuinely in love.
Okay, question number 1. Did your kid ever throw a house party while you were out of town?
All right, I like to play along with these games. So they're asking the moms, did your kid ever throw a house party while you were out of town? So let's look at Mike. I'm sure 100% although did Trish ever leave town? But Mike seems like the sort of dude who would throw a party. Brandon, I don't know. Again, the parents, would they ever leave town? The other thing is, Brandon seems like he probably had friends, probably partied in high school. But I could also see Brandon being like, I don't want to upset my parents. He kind of seems like a rule follower in that way. So that one, I don't know, I'm 50-50. Stephanie, I'm imagining no. She seems very careful socially and maybe a little anxious about that sort of thing. So I could imagine. Plus, I think, didn't they grow up in this? Anyway, point is I'm going to go Stephanie, no. Brandon, I'm going to say yes, because, I don't know, anyway, I'm going to say yes, Brandon. That's on my 60%. Say Mike, 100%. Let's see what they do.
Hell yeah.
Okay,
I'm getting one of those balls.
Definitely.
Okay, Trish?
No.
No. Okay.
Not that I know of.
Magda?
Right, not that you know of. Also, did you ever leave town? Because you have to leave town. I don't know what Trish's lifestyle is like, but I could see her living a life. Didn't they grow up in Oklahoma or something? Anyway.
Absolutely.
Okay, so Magda gets the ball, make sure.
All right, I am 1 and 2. I got 1 right and 2 wrong. So Stephanie did absolutely. She said absolutely. That's interesting. I would have thought that Stephanie would be more careful, but maybe she had a lot of friends. Because at this point, she seems like she's talking about how she's kind of isolated and how she's retracted from people. Maybe it's because she extended herself too much when she was younger. I don't know.
Let's get a ball for Magda. Next, did your kid ever wreck your car?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't press pause in time. Okay. So I would have guessed that he wouldn't have done it, Brandon. Mike, I'm going to say, that's kind of a rare thing, to wreck your parents' car. Mike, yeah, I could see him wrecking the car. Stephanie, I'm going to say no. I'm going to say no all the way around, except for Brandon.
Oh, no, really?
And motorcycle.
Oh, my gosh. Did your kid ever forge your signature on something?
Did your kid ever forge your signature? So would Mike forge a signature? Again, that's pretty rare, but I'm going to say Mike. That's about a 55%, so I'll say yes to Mike. Brandon sounds like he crashed a car, crashed a motorcycle, and threw parties. I'm going to say yes to Brandon. I'm going to say yes all the way around. Let's see what they say.
Yes.
my
Oh
God.
my gosh!
Skipping school.
Boy, Brandon was just off the chain, wasn't he?
I can't wait till he has kids.
Trish, Michael forged your signature.
He forged my signature. He had people write him notes, all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, it was funny back then. I don't know, do they still do it this way? Because with texting and whatnot and email, you could just text the parents. But back in the day, like, there was no way to contact the parents. You just be like, yeah, and I just wrote this note here.
To get out of class?
You know, to say, oh, I was sick yesterday.
Okay. Next one. Did you ever have to pick up your kid because he or she was too drunk to drive?
Okay, Mike, I'm going to say yes. Well, okay, so if you ever do I believe that Mike drank in high school? Yes. Do I believe Brandon drank it? Do I believe Stephanie? Yeah, I believe all of them drank in high school. But did they call their parents? You know, that's a thing, right? So you'd have to have that kind of relationship with your parents where you believed that they wouldn't, you know, really get upset at you. And not every parent-child relationship is like that. Would Mike and Trish have a relationship like that? I could see maybe. Brandon, no. I could see him getting drunk but not calling his parents, because Ron seems like someone that would get upset about that. Stephanie, I could see absolutely calling her mom, because I think Stephanie and her mom have that kind of close relationship. So I'm going to say yes to Stephanie, no to Brandon. And this is actually kind of interesting because it is a background, you know, like it illuminates how little we know about these cast members' backgrounds. It would be so interesting to get like an hour of these rapid fire questions. Like, what was he, you know, what was that? Like, just because that's what I do as a therapist. I get that detail. It's like, okay, it starts filling in these gaps. It helps hypotheses, you know, anyway. So with Mike, I'm going to say no, he didn't call his mom. So yes, Stephanie, and no.
But you know what? Thank God he called me.
Yes,
How
okay,
about
you
that
get a
one?
ball.
I guess that kind of makes sense. You know, it fits with the enmeshment between Brandon and his mom. But it is surprising because it seems like Brandon also has a kind of a pushback. I mean, maybe when he was younger, he didn't push back on the boundary.
Trish, what about you?
No.
Nope. Magda?
I have to say no.
Okay, next question. Did you ever catch your kid looking at porn?
Okay, so did they look at porn? Yes, I believe Stephanie, Brandon, and Mike all looked at porn. It's, you know, it's common. It's statistically, when we ask people on surveys and stuff, it's much more likely that they did. Did they get caught? So that's kind of a thing. So that requires one, carelessness on the kid's part, and I don't know, maybe invasiveness or a lot of opening doors without knocking, that kind of thing for the parents. Betty, 100%. That's probably happened. With Stephanie and Magda, I could say probably not. And with Mike and Trish, I'm going to say no, because if Mike did look at porn as a kid, I'm guessing he was a lot more, I don't know, just better about his boundaries. So I'm going to say only yes to Brandon and Betty.
Oh, yes.
Trish says, oh, yes.
What boy doesn't look at porn?
Oh, yes.
I don't know if this counts, but I found Hustler magazine under his mattress.
Okay, interesting. So Trisha's like, yes. And Betty's like, well, kind of. Interesting. I think I'm like mostly getting him wrong. I think I'm losing this game.
But the worst part, I think it was my dad's.
Oh,
He stole from my dad.
Okay, Trish, what happened? Tell us a story.
All I can say is there isn't a guy alive that hasn't looked at porn.
I don't know why they always have to say that. Whenever these kinds of questions come, it's like every guy looks at porn. No, they don't. There's plenty of dudes who do not look at porn. Many people do, regardless of gender, especially as time moves forward and we destigmatize sexualization of women and girls, meaning that a lot of what has helped with feminism as we move forward is allowing people of any gender to make choices for themselves about what they do with their lives. And we don't impose rules upon them based on their gender. And in the past, there were rules placed on girls and women that they couldn't want sex or they couldn't be interested in sex because that made them gross and immoral and impure. And we have made progress. We still have a long way to go, but that has released the chains, if you will. And so people are free to do what they want. Anyway, and as that we move forward, we start seeing the gender gap regarding all sorts of things, including looking at porn, narrowing. But plenty of, because it's okay to say a lot of people look at porn, because, I was saying that earlier. It's destigmatized. That's fine. A lot of people look at porn. But on the other hand, if you say every man looks at porn, what does that say about men who don't look at porn? Does that mean there's something wrong with them? Does that mean that they're not a real man or something like that? No, of course not. So we don't want to. We want to normalize and say sex is okay, sex positivity. And there are problems with some porn for sure, but there is ethical porn out there seemingly, and so it's not all exploitative and harmful and sexist and misogynistic, because there is for sure. I mean, porn emerges from our society, and anything that emerges from our society is going to have the problems of our society: racism, sexism, ableism, ageism, all sorts of things. All those things are highly prevalent in porn, as they are in the police force, as they are in schools, as they are in psychology. It's just in government, TV, reality TV. Anyway, so, but we don't want to say that all men look at porn, because they don't. That's just statistically wrong, and it stigmatizes men who don't look at porn.
His hands.
Oh my God, Ed. I said, go to Ed's house and wash your hands.
Good one, Trish. Next question. Did your kid, Trish, just take a ball. Did your kid ever date someone you hated?
Right, okay. Did your kid ever date someone you hated? So Trish will say yes, because of Natalie. Betty will probably say no, because, hate's a strong word, I think, for Betty. I think she'll be like, well, there were people I was concerned about, but no one I hated. Magda and Stephanie, I could see a similar reaction for Magda. I'd be like, no, there wasn't anyone Stephanie actually probably has been in some volatile relationships. She seemed to exhibit that with Erica. So I bet you there have been relationships that Magda has observed in Stephanie that she has hated because of the volatility. Other people, let's see what. So I'm going to go yes for Magda, yes for Trish, obviously, no for Betty.
Oh, how many balls can I get?
Just one ball to represent
Everybody she
everyone.
dated.
Betty, what about you? You hated somebody you hated?
I wouldn't say hated. I disliked immensely and just felt like it wasn't the right person.
That's exactly what I thought Betty would. It feels good to feel like I kind of know these people. There's a consistency to personality. I mean, now I will say I've gotten a lot of these wrong, but this one feels satisfying. That I would have guessed Betty would be like, hate's a strong word for Betty, so she's like, I wouldn't say hate it.
And I expressed my opinion. My claws were out.
Magda, what about you?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, ding ding. I like Bears All because they do this. There's so much data we're getting. Are we not? Are we not getting? So let's hear what Magda says here.
Few boyfriends she had that I couldn't stand. And literally I was I was devastated. And thanks God she broke up with them, but they were evil villains.
Wow.
Now, did Stephanie date evil villains? It's possible. It's also possible, because I have worked with people in situations like this where they will narrativize that, and then once I see it, I'm like, it's not an evil person. The two of you just triggered each other a lot, and that person was, mean to you and hurtful to you, but you were hurtful back. You just don't see it that way. So was it that? Was it, actually evil and Stephanie was totally the innocent one? I don't know. Who knows? Probably never find out, right?
I better shut up. I better be quiet. Oh, jeez.
All right.
One more.
You must come to daddy.
Make us proud.
Oh, shit. No. That's cheating. That's cheating.
All right, who knew we were going to see Trish cheating in a dunk game to put Ed into a thing while Betty and Sean watch. Yeah, it's an interesting show.
Oh, I told you I was going to do it.
That was cheating. Oh my God.
He was going to get wet no matter what. He was going to get wet.
I mean, there's probably some kind of cheating joke, you know, like infidelity joke in there somewhere about Big Ed and Trish. I don't know. I'm sure people are making those memes as we speak.
Oh, almost. Betty's got a strong arm, man. Betty, come on. Oh, shit. One more.
So Betty was the only one that hit it. I mean, it is kind of cathartic just to have fun, right? Just to put Ed in a dunk tank and dunk him while Betty throws balls at him. I don't know. There's something cleansing, if you will. A baptism. I don't know.
Now that's an ending. Thank you so much to Big Ed.
All right, well, that is it for that episode. Everyone out there, please take care of yourself because you deserve it. You really, really do.